right, look, if you guys are here for my draft reactions, fast forward like a minute and a half to 2 minutes, but I got a rant about the draft itself real quick here. There's a reason I wasn't counting down to draft day. There's a reason if you follow me on social media, you watch me on Twitch, I don't talk about the draft. It's because I don't like it. I can't stand it. I think the concept of the draft is fantastic, but the process is intolerable. Dude, the pick will be in and they will wait 5 minutes and then Roger will come out and give a 2-minute speech before actually giving the pick, which, by the way, I think he was drunk last night. I tried so hard to record my reaction for every pick and my camera ended up dying after Green Bay because I never knew when to record. You'd see him walking out there, so you'd hit record. Some of the times he would say the pick right away and other times it would be 5 minutes. Like, dude, just say who they pick. Like, the draft doesn't need to be a 4-hour thing. I mean, the Patriots were on the clock, I think, for what, 15 seconds? And we didn't hear that pick for minutes. Man, if you're like me and you struggle to stay up past 9:30 at night, like, you were furious last night. Even more furious that your team ended up trading down and then trading out. We'll talk about the rest in the video. You guys know my plugs. Code WyattzWorld works on G Fuel or Prize Picks. Remember to play responsibly, and now we'll get into my actual draft reactions. Alright guys, so we are on NFL.com and I'm just going to be scrolling and talking about the picks here. I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything because pretty much every football fan at this point knows who was picked last night. Also want to say I'm only going to show probably maybe 10 or 11 of the reactions because out of the 20-some that I recorded, I mean, a good chunk were just shoulder shrugs and okay. Kind of like the first one here, Caleb Williams. You know, you knew he was going to go there. I didn't really have an opinion on it. I wasn't surprised one bit. Now, do I think it was a good pick by Chicago? Well, yeah, I do. They needed a quarterback and they got the biggest name in the draft. They didn't try and be cute. They didn't try and take any risks. They went with Caleb and now we just got to wait and see if it works. Pick number 2, we had the Washington Commanders taking Jaden Daniels. Another one that was pretty predictable. I actually think my mock is 2 for 2 as of right now. But I really hope he does good there. I want him to succeed. I feel like he could be a very, very entertaining quarterback. The only concern I have is it doesn't sound like he wants to be there. I had heard rumors before the draft that he was like thinking about pulling an Eli Manning on him. If I was him, I'd be pretty excited to play with those receivers, man. Moving on to pick number 3, we got the Patriots drafting Drake May, and we do have a reaction for this one. I was at my friend's house, and we wanted him to go to the Vikings, so here it is.
The New England Patriots select Drake May.
Son of a bitch, there it goes. No!
God damn it!
Bustin'! So it's Bo Nix or JJ now, huh? I mean, it is what it is. You can see the letdown there. That pretty much just solidified that the Vikings were going to end up with who they did end up with. And it also meant that Drake May is going to be a rival of mine now, and I'm not exactly pleased about that either. In terms of the Patriots making a correct decision, that was the best decision they could have made right there. With the guys available, that was the absolute top-notch decision that they had to do. All right, moving on to pick 4, we had the Cardinals selecting Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State. I mean, if I was in their shoes taking a receiver, that's exactly who I would have grabbed too. I think he was the #1 rated receiver out of this draft, or at least the #1 name I kept hearing about. Also gives Kyler a very much needed weapon, considering before this, well, he didn't have a receiver. Now at pick 5, we have the Chargers selecting Joe Alt, an offensive tackle, and we do have a reaction for this one.
The Los Angeles Chargers select Joe Alt, tackle.
The fuck is Herbert gonna throw to? I mean what I said in the video. Like, who is Herbert gonna throw to? And if I hear Josh Palmer or Quentin Johnston as if they're supposed to be taking like serious #1 threats, I'm going to laugh. Now, I mean, getting a good O-line is important. You're protecting Herbert, you're protecting Dobbins, you're protecting Gus. I feel like they could have sufficed in later rounds and they should have taken a weapon there. Moving on to pick 6, we got the Giants taking Malik Neighbors, and this is another A from me. They did what they had to do. They needed to finally give Daniel Jones an actual weapon, and they did the best attempt possible. Do we know if Malik will succeed? No. But much like Chicago didn't play games and try and be cute with pick #1, the Giants didn't try and do that here. They picked who at the time, at least from the list I was seeing, was the #1 available receiver. Now moving on, we got the Titans selecting J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. This one gets an A. They could have probably taken defense here, but if you're gonna take the offense, you didn't need weapons, you needed protection. Assuming Skoronski is gonna be playing only better than what he did last year, man, Will Levis might have 30 seconds each play to make a throw. Now we're on to pick number 8, where the Falcons took Michael Penix Jr., a quarterback. Roll it.
The Falcons took a quarterback. That would be the most insane fucking thing I've ever seen. What if it turns out that Kirk's like, didn't go to jail or something?
The Atlanta Falcons select Michael Penix.
Why? What? What the fuck was that? Pay Kirk $180 million and then draft a quarterback at number 8.
I genuinely mean it. This is the most insane draft pick I've ever seen in my entire life. And I don't care anybody who tries to reason with it. Penix is good. Penix could be good. I agree. But you guys just paid Kirk $180 million. Guaranteed him $100 million over the course of 4 years. So instead of getting him something to work with in that time, you get a quarterback who is also, by the way, going to be a free agent if they don't pick up his option at the same time Kirk is a free agent. What if he's not good? Like, what was that pick? He's also already 23. By the time he would start, he'd be 28. As my Atlanta Falcons friend would say, that organization loves taking bong rips of their own farts. All right, pick number 9. Sorry, my voice is starting to go. I'm sick. But the Bears got Rome Odunze. Really thought he was going to fall to 28. Damn. This was a fantastic move by them. I'm not going to act like I watched this guy a ton in college, but judging by his statistics, he's a fucking monster. Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and now Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet. Vikings might be screwed. And now we got pick number 10, where the Vikings traded up to get JJ McCarthy, and roll the tape.
We are honored to have with us.
He's drunk, dude. He's been slurring and stumbling. I'm not shitting you. He is fucking hammered. It's fucking JJ.
Minnesota Vikings select JJ McCarthy, quarterback, Michigan.
Obviously, I didn't love it last night. I still don't love it now. Could he be a good quarterback? Maybe, probably, and I hope he is. But personality-wise, I think this guy is a douchebag. Anybody with a Jack Doherty haircut who meditates in front of a goalpost, man, like, it's real bad vibes. Moving on to pick 11, the Jets selected, I'm just going to say his last name, Fashanu. He's an offensive tackle out of Penn State. Obviously, they swapped back with Minnesota. Smart move by the Jets. They didn't need a quarterback. They dropped back, got the tackle that they did need, and I think gained a later draft pick from it. Now at 12, the Broncos selected Bo Nix. I think he turns into a senior citizen next year. I'm just kidding, but he is like 25. I think they took a good stab at the pot here, but I mean, it's just either going to be really good or it's going to be the last 5 quarterbacks you guys have had. At least you don't have to settle for Zach Wilson, though.
Pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Bo Nix.
6 quarterbacks in the first fucking 12.
Now moving on at pick 13, the Raiders picked Brock Bowers, and I thought that was one of the dumbest picks of the entire draft as well. Last year, they just got Michael Mayer at like pick 35 or something. I'm not saying it's all his fault that he didn't do good, but judging by his usage this year, or last year I meant, like what would make you think another tight end is what you guys need? 14, the Saints, trying to speed up a little bit now because I'm fading fast. 14, the Saints got is a Talisi Fuaga, another offensive tackle. This one's from Oregon State. Hey, I don't see anything wrong with them trying to give Derek Carr more time to try and convince themselves that signing Derek Carr for that long and that much money wasn't a horrible idea. So good on them. And then at 15, the Colts picked Latu, edge out of UCLA. I actually love this pick by Indy. It gave him a nice buff on the D-line. And if he is in fact good, it's just going to open up more holes for DeForest Buckner to sneak through and kill someone. Now at 16, the Seahawks took Byron Murphy II, DT out of Texas. I think that's fantastic as well. They missed out on Jalen Carter last year, so hopefully this can replenish that. Moving on to 17, the Vikings once again traded up, this time to draft edge rusher out of Alabama, Dallas Turner. Do have a reaction for this one. I was happy.
Okay, the Vikings just traded up to 17.
The Minnesota Vikings select Dallas Turner.
Sweet. Sweet.
I mean, nothing against Jonathan Grenard and nothing against the defensive move we've made, but Kwesi is clearly trying to make it so Minnesota is not going to even notice Danielle Hunter's gone, which will be impossible. Now at 18, we got the Bengals taking Amarius Mims, offensive tackle out of Georgia. They saw what happened to Joe. They saw what your offense is without Joe, and they said, hey, never again. Moving on, we got the Rams at 19 taking edge rusher Jared Verse. I think this was a very, very practical move as well. They lost Aaron Donald. Their D-line is going to be hurting. I think it was a very wise move to try and rebuild it the best you possibly can starting now. Now at 20, we got the Steelers taking Troy Fautanu, offensive tackle from Washington. Lots of OTs in this round. I don't hate this pick. As better as their O-line got last year, it still wasn't perfect. However, I honestly think they should have taken a receiver here, specifically probably Brian Thomas. I seriously think outside of Pickens, their receivers are ass. And now at 21, the Dolphins selected Chop Robinson. I was jealous, man. I wanted Buffalo to maybe get him, even though we technically don't need him, but still could use him. And I think the guy is just a character. It's a hell of a name, too. Miami's disappointed they didn't get JPJ, but I don't think they will end up regretting this draft pick whatsoever. All right, on to pick 22. We got the Eagles drafting Quinion Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. Again, practical. Not a lot of stupid teams in this first round. There were a couple, but they needed secondary assistance. So what did they do? They went out and got secondary assistance. Not going to act like I knew who the best cornerback in the draft was, but getting your secondary full of senior citizens, a young buck to train up, that was very wise. Number 23, we got the Jags taking Brian Thomas Jr. They ruined my night with this. Right after he got picked, I tweeted that the Bills were going to trade out of the first round. I knew it. We weren't going to take anybody else. And by the way, I'll clear the air. I wasn't mad that we didn't take anybody in the first round, but I was fucking pissed that I waited up all night to get dropped to 32 and then drop out of the first. Dude, it was such a waste of time. Anyway, as far as the Jags go, this was brilliant because I don't like their receiving core. I've stated that. I mean, it's functional, but they need a true number one. So they went out and attempted to get themselves one with Brian Thomas Jr., who I thought was like wide receiver 4 in this draft. Well, I guess he literally did go for. Now we got the Lions drafting Terrion Arnold, cornerback out of Alabama. Practical, smart, wise. Your secondary's ass. Your secondary kept getting torched last year. You got a great offense. You've got a great D-line. You had to do this. Congratulations. And then at pick number 25, we had the Packers picking Jordan Morgan, offensive lineman out of Arizona. And I had a reaction for this one. My final reaction.
The Packers just drafted Jordan Morgan? Not gonna lie, I've never heard of that guy in my life. He's an offensive tackle out of Arizona, though.
That was a Packers pick. I literally had never heard of that guy in my life. Could be good. I don't know, but I've never heard of him. All right, now we're on to 26, where the Bucks drafted Graham Barton, center out of Duke. I thought JPJ was going here, and I thought he should have. I don't get it. Why aren't teams picking him? He was supposed to be like the best center, I thought. But anyway, the Buccaneers needed one. Ryan Jensen retired. Practical, they get an A for doing what they had to do. Now at 27, the Cardinals selected defensive end Darius Robinson out of Missouri. They realistically could have done a number of things here, but what is one thing I've said the Cardinals needed to attack all offseason? Their D-line, their ability to stop the run. The Cardinals took two of the most important positions they needed to take this draft. Like, they are definitely on trend to have a hell of a bounce back season if their offense can just get a little bit more assistance or really surprise us. Now at pick 28, the Chiefs traded with the Bills to take Xavier Worthy. All the Bills fans are pissed because we traded with the enemy to give him a great receiver, the next Tyreek. Guys, he's John Ross. Until that one route where he broke the record for running at the combine, I had never ever heard of him in my life. That was an impulsive draft pick that I truly believe will bite them in the ass. Next up at 29, we got the Cowboys taking Tyler Guyton, OT out of Oklahoma. A lot of people are ripping on him for this pick, but I think they're just probably trying to replenish the gap from Jets guy Tyron Smith. Sure, they could have filled other gaps in areas, but it's not like this was a completely dog shit decision. Now at 30, the Ravens took Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson. In this one, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not hating on you, Baltimore. I think this one is a fucking bomb. I've read on multiple occasions and heard from multiple people that this guy is as skinny as a twig and flat out afraid to tackle. Now at 31, we've got Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver out of Florida, going to the 49ers. This guy literally looks like a Madden creative player on default. Like, if you just didn't touch him at all, that's what this guy looks like. I think this was kind of a shitty pick too. I'm not gonna lie, this guy was in college for 5 years, never broke 1,000 yards a single time. Like, I just don't know where the first round value is coming from. I mean, especially the guy never even scored over 4 touchdowns in a year. Like, it just seemed kind of asinine, but maybe they'll trade Ayuk to Buffalo now. And ending the draft, the Panthers traded with Buffalo to take Xavier Leggett, wide receiver out of South Carolina. I think that was a fine move by them. Try and get Bryce another weapon. And I do want to say that I'm not shocked AD didn't get picked, because I have heard that that guy has the attitude issues of Stephon Diggs. Anyway, guys, that is going to be all for my first round draft pick reaction. Sorry I didn't get every reaction, and sorry my camera died, but I still feel like it was pretty fun to get some. Let me know what you guys think about the draft. Let me know where you disagree with any of my takes. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll probably react to the rest of the draft on Monday, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.